Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 14. Today, we will continue adding more freight to the main line, mostly around the hub we've been focusing on lately. We already managed to connect the second tools factory to it, but we still need to add a second sawmill, as well as a fourth logging camp to be able to maximize those production chains. Besides that, we will also remove the catenaries from the central passenger lanes on the main line, which will result in a bit of an interesting power pole placement, which we will need to fix sometime in the future. And near the end, we will also manage to push construction materials onto the ring, since the City of London will develop a need for it. Before we get started, if this is not your first video from this channel, you already know what to expect. If you want to be kept up to date, please consider subscribing, and if you like what you see, leaving a like will also help letting me know what to focus on. But enough talking, let's get into it. Well, I think we will have to make peace with the vanilla cargo platform capacities. I downloaded a mod that should extend the amount of goods we can store in the stations. I even got the utility that should have updated our existing stations for us, but I simply couldn't get it to work. I guess it was a warning sign that the only mod that managed to show up in the game was the upgrade utility, but not the configuration tool. I will give it another go. There is a second mod that doesn't change the actual stored amounts, but allows stuff to be stowed in neighboring platforms. Maybe we'll have more luck with that one. Anyways, let's ensure that the second tools factory has everything it needs to get up to its full production capacity. And for that, we need a second sawmill. The oil refinery station is in the perfect position to act as a branching off point for this route. We can use that line for this one too, we will just need to add some passing sections onto it. But first, we need to get over this river. So, this is where we will split off from the oil line. Maybe at a different angle though. We need to avoid that big mountain if we can. Now, this is a place where I don't mind having a viaduct. We have a big dip in the terrain, and two elevated points that are perfectly suited as the two ends of the bridge. This one, however, this goes over a lot of flat terrain. I don't feel that a long bridge fits in here. Sure, it requires a lot of terrain smoothing, but we can easily afford it at this point. Yeah, this will do just fine. All that's left to do is to add a couple passing tracks along the way. Also, let's get rid of this one. I built this in error in the last episode. I think we can fit 3 passing tracks into this place. And the pathfinding seemed to be doing its job. We're ready to set up the line. Another German locomotive, but it matches the cars quite nicely. Still, let's stick to UK engines if we can. Yeah, why not? Looks good to me. All that's left is to connect up a fourth logging camp. 2 of them can supply a single sawmill with logs, and we already have 3 of them, so only need 1 more. I don't think I want to squeeze a 4th service onto the same platform, let's just use the original sawmill line. Also, we have a bit of a blocking issue here. Thankfully, it's an easy fix, we just need to make sure no single track can be reserved if there is a potential traffic coming in from the other direction. Just need to get rid of a single signal. That passing track section will take over the duty of the light we just removed. Anyways, let's see how we can connect the 4th forest to the sawmill tracks. Well, that was easy enough. Of course, adding a second train onto a previously single train line means we need to add passing sections. And here, I decided to do a little bit of housekeeping in terms of line colors. I wanted them to reflect the goods they were supposed to be dealing with. Dark brown for lumber, very light blue for tools, very pale brownish yellow for planks, orange for fuel, black for oil. You know, that sort of thing. I even managed to accidentally dip into the road-based lines, but I think the same principle should apply to those too, so it's no big deal. I think this will do for now. Should make it easier to tell the lines apart at a quick glance on the map. What I also wanted to do was to increase the throughput on the lumber deliveries. I keep seeing the platforms being full, which means the trains leave with goods still on the platforms. Very inefficient. Plus, if we made all the stations the same length, we can standardize the train lengths too. And with that, we can upgrade the trains to all be about 320 meters long. That's a perfect fit. Just what I wanted to see. This station is getting real busy these days. And I have a feeling that we are nowhere near the peak yet. While I didn't do it today, I have a feeling that we might have to increase the frequency of this plank delivery train. It is trying to move the output of 2 separate logging camps, so we might need 2 trains instead of just 1. Well, at this point, all we can do about the tools factories is to leave them alone, and let them sort out the logistics. It's all up to the AI now. Although, maybe giving them a couple more cars could help a little. And we have a mutual blocking situation on a neighboring track. Easy fix, just need to make the passing track longer. By the way, I am aware that I forgot to add a train to the 4th logging camp line. Let's just hope I remember it while recording the next episode. I think we can increase the crude oil output by now. We are using the entire production of that single oil well already. And since this second field is also really close to the station, we will use road vehicles again. Maybe we can use those tiny little platforms for dropping things off. Those don't need to have a big storage space, and it will make traffic around the pickups a bit more manageable. We should also deal with the grain collecting train. It is pulling a lot of cars at the moment, and once fully loaded, it really slows down. Adding a second loco to it will help with that. Right now, it leaves a lot of grain in the 3rd station, which is far from optimal. Let's leave it alone for now, and see if adding that second engine will help with that or not. If not, we might need to add a second one to the line. Let's see. The food factory can make 400 units, but from double the amount of grain. So we need to bring in 800 of that. And our farms can produce 200 each. We need a fourth farm for the optimal setup. Since the train is already heavily overused, maybe we should just use trucks to deliver grain from this nearby farm instead. Also, why not use dirt roads? I think it fits. It will slow down the trucks, but who cares, we can afford to run more of them on the line. Speed is no longer a concern for us. We should use a different platform for dropping off, no need to hold up the Kensington deliveries. Ten trucks is definitely an overkill, so we will need to adjust them as the supply chains settle down. With that, we should have about 800 units of grain being pushed onto the main line. Delivering so much raw stuff is not exactly optimal. I might end up building a food factory nearby, so we only deliver the finished stuff on the ring, and nothing else. I think that would make sense. We have 3 freight hubs, and 6 final consumer products. Maybe we can dedicate each station to deal with 2 production chains each, and only use the mainline freight services to move the final goods. Anyways, to be able to cope with that amount of grain, we will definitely need to increase the throughput of the mainline cargo trains, and we can only do that by increasing their frequency. Which means, we need to add more signals. Okay, that's a pretty long stretch of track. So far, we could place signals between stations, but there is nothing between Paddington and Tottenham, so we should add a regular set of signals to regulate traffic. And I decided to give those steel gantry signal holders another try. To be extra sure that they will go in the way we want, we should build a perfectly straight section of track, just to give it all the advantages. Alright, let's see. With everything prepared, it should work the way we want it. Perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. We can now attach those floating signals to it to complete the picture. And the stretch between Tottenham and Camden is also too long to go without a signal. Maybe we should even add 2, but let's just go with 1 for now. And we got lucky with this one. The tracks were straight enough to not cause any snapping issues. Okay, another long empty section on the main line, between Wembley and Kensington. It seems we have snapping issues this time. You know what? We don't need to use these all the time. Let's try something else. These offset signals might be what we're looking for. I am convinced that these have a very specific place in the real-life railroads, and I bet that place is not on the busy mainline thoroughfare, but it looks good, so why not use it? Adding all those signals once again got a couple trains confused a little bit, but they will sort themselves out eventually. And since we're on the main line, how about we get rid of the central catenaries? We only have diesel trains running on them, so they are entirely unnecessary. And this one reminded me. There is a small snapping issue in this long tunnel. While I got it in my head, let's take care of it, or I'll just forget about it again. Basically, the track on the far left is not aligned with the rest correctly. Trying to bulldoze underground tracks over dense forests is a real test of patience. Just to be extra sure we did it right, let's catch a ride on a train, and see what we have. A perfect 4-lane tunnel. Mission accomplished. We can continue with the removal of the catenaries from the central lanes. I think I should give you a warning. It will not turn out the way we hoped. I will leave it at that for now. You'll see what I mean when we're finished. Alright, the two ends are connected. Let's catch a ride to see how it looks. Well, those catenaries are all wrong. Instead of both sides being on the outer edge, they seem to always try to face the same way. Let's see if we can fix it. And this test gave us the same result. And no, it's not about the direction we drag the tracks while building. And this pretty much convinced me that I approached this from the wrong angle. Instead of removing the catenaries from the middle tracks, maybe we should do it for the freight services. At least on the main line. We can replace the diesel engines on the passenger services with electric ones, and use diesel for cargo. If the catenaries are placed in the middle, then they will line up correctly. After the recording, I removed every single electrified track, except for the passenger lines, and I think it worked quite well. In the next episode, I think I will start with the main line. Not sure I will do it for the local services, but for the sake of aesthetics, I think we should do it on the ring. Anyways, we are making so much money at this point, I just gave every single vehicle we own the highest maintenance budget. It will slow down the rate of income, but not by much. Also, the City of London developed enough that it now has a hunger for construction materials, and general consumer goods. With the time we have left, we can easily take care of the former. We know a place where we can do that almost instantly. For now, I just added a small placeholder road between the freight hub and the brickworks. You will see what we will replace it with in the outrow, in case you're interested, but this also works for now. We also need to rebuild the old quarry truck station. Again, let's not tangle with the pickup platforms too much. You know, we only have mainline services at this point. I don't think we need to specify that in the line names anymore. Let's give these trucks a different color, so they better represent the type of stuff they carry. Nah, this is more for tools I think. Now that's better. Light gray for raw stone. Also, it might help if we built a truck station, instead of a bus stop at the quarry. With all the cities connected to the main line, it shouldn't take too long for this particular production chain to level up completely. And if memory serves correctly, we only need a single quarry to satisfy the needs of a single brickworks. This particular setup should already be complete. Anyways, as I've said, if you want to see what I had in mind for the roads around the brickworks, stick around for the outrow. I'll include an overhead view of it. Very good. We have progress on the middle shipment bar. That means the factory had places it wants to deliver its output to. And we have some of it in the freight hub platforms too. I think we can call this one a success. Next, let's check on that grain delivery train. It should have had enough time to settle into the new rhythm. So far so good. We have plenty of room for the last station. Perfect. We only have about 2 cars left empty at the end. Technically, we could remove those, but I'll leave them there, just as a bit of a buffer. The only thing missing now is the extra trains on the mainline freight services. We dealt with the signals, time to add the trains. I think 3 more for each direction will be enough for now. I did add a lot of signals, but there is no reason to overdo it. And they are coming out from both depots. The directional restrictions seem to be working. And looking at our budget, it seems the increased maintenance didn't cause us to go in the red. The railroad balance is still very much showing blue, not red. And this is all we have time for. So, in the next one, I think I will try to deal with the mainline catenaries as quickly as I can, and then we can move on to other stuff. I did mention that maybe we should limit the production of goods to certain stations, and only put the finished stuff on the main line. We might need to reorganize a little bit. It would make sense to have tools and machinery on the same hub, since both needs planks, and maybe we should group consumer goods and fuel together, since both need refined oil along their supply chains. The problematic material will be steel, since we need it for both machines and goods, so that might be the only thing that is not a finished product, but will still have to be moved around on the main line. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and leaving a like would also let me know that this video was worth making. If you feel that it was good enough, and you can afford it, please consider going to my Ko-fi page, which you can find in the description, and donate an amount that you feel is appropriate. And if you did like what you've seen, there should be links to some of my other videos and playlists on the screen. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.